guys, I'm Heidi, but today I'm cosplaying as Marin from Link's Awakening, and today we're going to be going over my list of the top 5 Legend of Zelda couples. One stipulation before we start. I will not be including anyone on this list more than once. Okay, let's begin. Number 5. Hudson and Ronson, Breath of the Wild. Hudson works for Bolson Construction Company and has been sent on a mission to build a new town. After Link helps him gather some materials, he asks Link to find people to do various jobs with one stipulation. All their names must end in son. Company policy. Eventually, he asks Link to find a tailor. Enter Ronson, a Gerudo woman looking for a husband and or a job as a tailor. When Link tells her about the job, she accepts his offer and moves to Tarrytown. There, she and Hudson become well acquainted and soon get engaged. Once Tarrytown is completed, all that's left to do is invite guests and... wedding time! To the best of my knowledge, this is the only wedding that takes place in The Legend of Zelda, and despite some rather odd additions to the vows, having to end all their children's names in son, it's a beautiful moment. It was such a beautiful wedding. I hope they live a long and happy life together. Number 4, Kaife and Anju, Majora's Mask. Long ago, Kaife and Anju made a promise to one another to exchange their sun and moon masks on the day of the Carnival of Time as a symbol of their love and get married. However, as the day approaches, Kaife goes missing. His mother, worried about him, asks Link to find him. Shortly after, the postman delivers Anju a letter from Kaife. Relieved to hear from him, but still terribly worried, Anju asks Link to mail her letter to Kaife. She asks that if he find him, he tell him Anju is waiting for him. When Link does find Kaife, he has been cursed to look like a child. He is not, however, ashamed to show himself based on his current appearance, but because he had his sun mask stolen from him. Together with Link's help, Kaife manages to retrieve his mask and returns to Clocktown. Meanwhile, Anju sits on her bed, staring at the door, occasionally glancing at her wedding dress, waiting for her beloved's return. At last, on the evening of the 3rd day, Kaife arrives. Confused at first, Anju quickly realizes that the boy standing before her is in fact her fiancé. The two hug and exchange their masks. That was so sweet. I really hope Kaife can return to his original form so the two can get properly married at last. Number 3, Kamali and Medli, Wind Waker. When Link first arrives at Dragon Roost Island, Kamali is depressed and Medli is worried about him. She asks Link to help her calm down Baloo so Kamali will be able to earn his wings. After Link does so, Medli encourages Kamali to give Link Din's Pearl and tells him he will become a hero someday, just like Link. Later on, as Ganondorf prepares to kill Link and Tetra, Quill and Kamali, with a strong new pair of wings, swoop in and save them, while the great dragon Baloo sets Ganondorf's lair on fire. When Link meets with Medli again to ask her to be the new Earth Sage, she comments that Prince Kamali has turned into a fine young adult. After she agrees to go with Link to the Earth Temple, she notices Kamali flying overhead. She expresses her wish to leave quickly, as she wants him to remember her as she was. Moments after they leave, Kamali lands where they had been, and looks around sadly, disappointed they were gone. Upon completing the dungeon, Medli declares she must stay behind, and asks Link once again to look out for Kamali. If Link returns to Dragon Roost after completing the Earth Temple, he will find Prince Kamali standing outside, looking over the sea, holding a flower he had picked for Medley, wanting to see the joy on her face as he presented it to her. As more time passes, he grows concerned for her well-being, and the flower wilts.
That's so sad. I really hope that after Link and Zelda defeat Ganondorf, Medley can finally return home, and Prince Kamali will be able to declare his feelings for her.
Number 2. Pippet and Karane, Skyward Sword. Pippet, a senior student at the Knights Academy and Skyloft's resident bird expert, has long been the target of Karane, his classmates' affection. Despite asking Link and others what they think of Pippet, she has an old-fashioned sense of chivalry and can't bring herself to confess her feelings for him. But one day things change when an underclassman, Colin, decides to declare his love for Karane in the form of a love letter. However, due to his fear of rejection, he can't bring himself to deliver the letter himself, and instead asks Link to do it for him. Upon receiving the letter, Karane is hopeful it's from Pippet, but is disappointed when she realizes it's actually from Colin. She wonders what Pippet would think if he knew about the letter, passively asking Link to tell him. When Link does tell Pippet about the letter, he is both intrigued and minorly outraged. He pretends to be largely disinterested, but asks Link to find out whether or not Karane intends to go out with Colin. Later on, having heard no response from Link, Colin gathers up the courage to confront Karane directly. She thanks him for the letter, and shooting his shot, he asks her to go out with him. Meanwhile, Pippet decided he would find out Karane's answer for himself. He came upon her and Colin's discussion and listened quietly outside the room, unnoticed. However, hearing Colin ask Karane to go out with him, Pippet had to speak up. He asks her to go out with himself instead. Without a moment's hesitation, Karane happily agrees to go out with Pippet. Pippet confesses that had Link not told him about Colin's love letter, he may have never realized his love for Karane. Thanks to Link, the two officially become a couple.
They're so cute together. I'm so happy for them. Poor Colin, though. He seems so sad. At least he has Phony to keep him company.
Number 1. Gonzo and Tetra. Gonzo and Tetra have been part of the same crew for a long time, and... okay, I can't even say this in jest. Tetra is like 14 years old, and Gonzo is a whole grown-up man. Anyone who ships these two is sick in the head. And I'm looking at you, Mako.
That was a joke. The real number 1 is Link and me. I'm just kidding. You see, I can't actually be with Link because I'm not real. However, I am his dream girl. Now, on to the real number 1.
Number 1. Link and Zelda. Every game. If you want to be more specific, I would say the two Zelda games which give them the strongest relationship would be Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild. In Skyward Sword, Link and Zelda were childhood friends. Both of them will jump at the chance to protect the other, no matter the risk. They're best friends, but they're more than that. The way they look into each other's eyes, the way they held hands as they walked, and at the end, when Zelda decided to stay on the ground, Link decided to stay there as well. In Breath of the Wild, they don't start as friends. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Zelda despises Link and does everything in her power to get away from him. However, over time, the two warm up to one another, opening up about their insecurities, their struggles, and their aspirations. When Link gets injured, Zelda shows concern for him. Link protects Zelda with his life, and while it's true that it's his duty to protect her, he goes beyond that. He doesn't just protect her, he also comforts her, and humors her antics. And when it came down to the wire, Zelda was willing to risk her life to protect Link. It is only through her love for him that she is able to awaken her sealing powers. When Link collapses, she has him taken to the Shrine of Resurrection, knowing it will take 100 years for him to be healed. Even knowing his memory will be gone when he awakens, she has faith that when he does, he will come and rescue her. And he does. After defeating the Calamity together, the two travel across Hyrule together. No job, no duty, nothing tying them together except their love.
Well, those were my top 5 Zelda couples. Were there any that I missed? Did you agree with my opinions? Let me know in the comments, and give this video a like if you agree with my opinions or if you like my cosplay. And if you want to see more of me as Marin, check out my Instagram. There are going to be pictures there. And I'll see you guys next time.